the Charitable Irish Society. I'd like to welcome all of you here on behalf of the board of the Charitable Irish Society, our members. And if you're not a member, please feel free to ask members about the society, and we do have some membership applications out on the table. As you may know, this is our annual Silver Key Awards and reception. This year we are honoring three amazing gentlemen who've done a whole lot of work for the Irish community and the Boston community. And so I thank you for coming tonight and supporting not just the Charitable Irish, but the work of Chris Lavery, Larry Reynolds, and John Curran. What I'd like to do now is introduce Pat King. He's the past president of the Society, and he's going to give you a little bit of the history of the Silver Key and why we're here tonight. And then we will move on with the program, hopefully very quickly, and you can get back to the lovely salmon and beverages we have out at the reception. Pat.
Thank you, and let me join in congratulating John Curran, Larry Reynolds, and Christopher Lavery. My role here is to give you a brief overview about the Silver Key. And the Charitable Irish Society was founded in Boston in 1737 by a group of Irish men who were interested in assisting needy Irish immigrants. So the society was established in 1737. Under our Constitution, one of the offices is that of the keeper of the Silver Key. And I have with me the original Silver Key that was crafted in 1737 by Jacob Hurd, who was the most preeminent silversmith in Boston prior to the American Revolution, by Paul Revere. And on one side of the key is the coat of arms of Ireland. On the other side is King George II, who was the King of England at the time. Other outstanding examples of Jacob Hurd's work may be found at the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, at the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. A few years ago, we had a number of replicas made of it, but the original is still in our possession after all these hundreds of years. The role of the keeper of the Silver Key was to recruit members to provide financial support to the society to help Irish immigrants. And it's noteworthy that we're in this beautiful building this evening, which houses the original records of the Charitable Irish Society dating back to 1737. Peter Drummey, who's done an outstanding job here for many years and was kind enough to pull out some of our records. Pulled out records from 1770. And in 1769, a ship carrying salt from Spain on its way to Boston was intercepted by a naval ship of the British Navy, seeking to impress the soldiers, the sailors, which were made up of Irish sailors. A battle ensued, and one of the British officers was killed. Four of the Irishmen were charged with murder. John Adams defended them. On the way to my left is portraits of John and Abigail Adams from 1764 when they were on their honeymoon in Salem, Massachusetts. But in 1769, he defended the four Irishmen, and they were acquitted on grounds of self-defense. In 1770, the records that Peter Drummey pulled out show that the Charitable Irish Society gave 23 shillings to one John Ryan, who was one of the Irishmen who was shot by the British Navy, and he was seeking assistance. I don't know how much 23 shillings was in 1769, but I do know that in 1737, in the Charitable Irish Society bylaws, they had a bylaw that provided that no more than 1 shilling for rum per member could be served at any meeting, unless a majority of the members agreed to increase the amount of rum. Our research indicates that a shilling in 1737 would buy 2 quarts of rum. So I have a suspicion that 23 shillings was a fair amount of money, even in 1769. Interestingly, in John Adams' later years, while corresponding with a friend, he was asked about the most notable cases that he had in his legal career. And most people think of the Boston Massacre, which took place a few years earlier in front of the State House behind me. And that's the one where he defended British officer Captain Preston, who was charged with murdering some 5 colonists. And he was successful in that case. But in his later years, he wrote to his friend, which indicated that, in his opinion, the most significant case of his career was in 1769, when he defended the 4 Irishmen. So those are the types of records we have here at the Mass Historical Society. One of the things we're trying to do is to digitize our records, because without them being digitized, they're very little use to scholars and persons interested in Irish American history or just genealogy. Because there's a tremendous amount of information about Irish American genealogy contained in the records here at the Society. The Mass Historical Society has our records from 1737 to the early 1900s. The more later records are at the Burns Library at Boston College. Another kind of notable entry I found when I did review our records was in 1872. There was a vote to allow women to attend the annual St. Patrick's Day dinner. The organization was all at the very next meeting. Apparently, there was a very large turnout, and they voted to rescind that vote. And the issue was sent in 1872 to a study committee. Those of you who have any familiarity with our legislature as well aware what happens when something goes to a study committee. But in this instance, actually, the study committee did report out. It was a few years later. I think it was in 1905. And basically, the recommendation was let them have their own dinner, which is what they did. So there's a separate St. Patrick's Day dinner for the ladies and a separate dinner for the men. And later that. I guess that's when membership dwindled, it was merged, and everyone was invited. And actually, I think in 1980, the organization was open to women for the first time, belatedly, but it did happen. And we've had a number of very successful women presidents, including Kelley Kassa this evening. So with that, I'm going to end my remarks, other than to say that we do have a little raffle of some tickets to the Catholic Sojourn that Brother O'Donnell was kind enough to donate to us. And the proceeds from this raffle will be used to assist in digitizing the records here at the Mass Historical Society so that these records are available to scholars who are interested in research. With regard to the Mass Historical Society, I know some of you have not been here before. It's a wonderful organization. On Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock, it's open to the public with a tour of the organization. And so you can see all the wonderful backroom activities that take place here. They have the largest collection of Thomas Jefferson's records outside of the Library of Congress. They have all the Adams records and many other records here, including our own Charitable Society records. So some Saturday morning, please feel free to come by, take a tour of the organization. If you're interested in joining, you can go to the website at masshistory.org and join. There's a lot of wonderful membership benefits for those who decide to want to become members of the organization. For any of you who want to see the original of the Silver Key from 1737, I have it here. And it does say 1738 on the key, but there's an issue about which calendar would be recognized. In those days, they didn't recognize the Gregorian calendar, and for that reason, there's about a 1-year dispute over what year it was. It must have been very interesting to try to figure out those days what year you were in, but apparently that sense has been resolved. So it's not an issue. Thank you very much.